Hello, it's Scott Manley here, and as you probably know, I'm a bit of a fan of Elite Dangerous. It's one of these, ongoing spaceship games I just keep coming back to because the universe is so big, there's so much to do in it, and yet everything does pretty much boil down to shooting things and picking up things and finding things in the gigantic vastness of space. But the latest release has come out. Now, this year the releases have been kind of small, there haven't been huge amounts of new features. It's mostly been about narrative updates and adding new items, new spaceships. This new release has added Guardian structures in space. Now, the Guardians are a race of mysterious aliens that have left the galaxy now, or have probably been wiped out. We're not really sure. The exact story is told through, data logs that are decrypted when you're taking various missions. But their region of space is, it's kind of like anti-clockwise. If you look at the galactic plane from above, it's about 1,000 light years away from Earth. And for a long time, we've been finding structures on the ground, beacons that you can scan, and of course structures that you've been able to unlock to get materials to get special weapons and hardware. Well, the latest release of Elite Dangerous now adds the ability to get Guardian spaceships. So these beacons are giant mysterious floating structures in space surrounded by mysterious gases doing mysterious things and making mysterious sounds, because of course the sounds in Elite Dangerous are a big part of the game's atmosphere. Now, when it was revealed we would get these structures in space, I asked whether it would allow players that didn't own the Horizons expansion to acquire Guardian materials. That isn't the case. You track them down, you actually got some clues through news articles about which area of space to go to, and people, flew around space for hours and then they started to find these things. And of course, once one person found them, everybody went to it to try to figure out what it was all about. Getting in close causes them to expand out like this. Kind of like they're opening their arms, welcoming you. Come here, hug me. Learn my alien secrets, and perhaps I will show you how to fight the Thargoids a bit better, because the Guardian weapons are the way for shooting down the Thargoids. They're not as good, they're not really that practical against the human ships, the other players, but they are exceptionally good against the Thargoids, which don't have shields, but they do have various countermeasures and very tough skin and hides. So if you get close enough in, you'll find that these are Guardian energy pylons, which means you shoot them and they get activated. You have to shoot them a fair amount. Now, my spacecraft is an ASP Explorer, which is it's a great exploration ship. It usually has weapons on it. I usually take my weapons off in this case because I like to minimize my mass, that I can travel further, get better hyperspace range. But for this pivotal moment in exploration, I decided that we needed to have a laser light show ready to show those Guardian energy pylons exactly what this fully armed and operational ASP Explorer can do. And yes, we zapped the second one and learned to listen to the audio for a moment. Now, to the naive Earth-based explorer, that might look like lightning, but any seasoned space explorer will know that in a vacuum, high electrical voltages don't generate lightning because the electrons just flow across the gap. There's no insulator or anything to slow them down and make them have to find ionized pathways. Anyway, whatever form that energy is, it wakes up one of these little Guardian nodes in the middle. So you've seen these on the ground as well previously. And instead of shooting this, you of course use your data scanner to unlock its secrets. The Guardian beacon goes to sleep, and everything will start closing itself back up again. So try not to get whacked by the giant pieces of technology spinning around. I don't know if that would do your ship particularly much good. And there we are, that's what we came for, an ancient key. So the keys are going to be required for certain ground-based sites. You have to grab that using your cargo scoop, and you'll take this to a planet. So you're just going to move in very carefully to pick this up. And, you know, to give you an idea of scale, this spacecraft, an ASP Explorer, is about 50 meters across, 50 meters long, 50 meters wide. And the cargo scoop sits at the back of the spacecraft. Sometimes, yeah, in this case I managed to bump it. Never mind the loop of shame, this was the scoop of shame. So yeah, while we're here, let's pull back and give you an idea of the scale of this magnificent alien structure, which appears to basically behave like a key dispenser. You know, I'm guessing it's one of those gizmos that you see at the store where it, you know, duplicates the key for you. This time it's just popping out a copy of the Guardian key so that I can take it to a Guardian site to unlock a Guardian blueprint. Now, helpfully, scanning that beacon actually tells you the location of the site that you're looking for. The Guardian structure in Sinu FA EUQ C2115 A, which means planet A. And gives you longitude and latitude and everything, so of course you need to go to the galaxy map and find this thing. So after a quick conversation with the Nava computer, we jump into hyperspace, also known as witch space to the more superstitious old school types, and we find ourselves in a system with a Guardian structure on a planet. If you've not played Elite Dangerous, everything in the Elite universe is full scale, realistic scale. The planets are full size, the distances between the stars are full size. The spacecraft are just capable of going incredibly fast. Like, inside a star system you can travel at up to 2,000 times the speed of light if you are a long way from everything. Hyperspace jumps can cover 50 light years in a fraction of a second. But once you get down, your top speed slows. And for playability reasons, your spacecraft that was capable of travelling thousands of times the speed of light is now restricted to, you know, the speed of sound. And I'm not talking about the speed of sound in a vacuum, because obviously we're in space. We're talking about the speed of sound at sea level. But look, that is all about playability. You can't really fight hostile targets at the speed of light when you're flying a spacecraft that's the size of a boat. But also, it's very hard to land when you're moving at several times the speed of light, so it's all to make the game good. So anyway, we've got to this site, we have a little rover in our spacecraft. Every explorer should have one. Now, we picked up that key, we need to take the key with us, so you need to go into the little screen between your legs and pull up the transfer cargo and find the ancient key. And transfer it. Remember to click transfer, because if you just drive away, you will not actually transfer it. Now, we need to go and find some power pylons. So I believe it's standard that every site will have 6 power pylons that you need to locate. And as you're exploring the site, you'll activate them, but then you'll need to come back and actually power them up. But while you're exploring, you may also encounter some of the sentinels which are guarding this site. I guess they want you to have the awesome weapons to kill their mortal enemies, the Thargoids, but they don't want to make it too easy. It's kind of like, pulling the sword from the stone. You don't want to let any old pleb get such power. Instead, you want to make sure that the true badass pilots get them. So that's one of the pylons there that's in the ground. To start the activation, I go to this little area here, and now you can hear them activating. So where are we? There's one there, there's one either side of this big altar type structure. See that? So that it deploys out of the ground. I need to find a total of 6 of these. But there's the Guardians. See them red on the map? And the Guardian Sentinel hitting me, shooting me, and ouch, knocking me all over the place. The rover does have little jets, and you need to kind of use that to get yourself into position, but yeah, you're going to be fighting these a lot. And they're not easy things to kill in the rover, especially since they have the guided missiles and stuff, and you just have guns. Anyway, I find it kind of annoying, and I tend to just try to keep my distance and then pick them off one at a time. preferably before they aggro. It's actually pretty important to kill these things because the stuff they drop is also going to be important in constructing the Guardian items that you need, that you're going to use. But obviously you want to kill the other beasties first before you do anything. Don't be running around picking up stuff while you're under fire from these. Anyway, once you've located them all, once you've made sure the space is free of Guardians, it's time to start powering these up. So what you do is you just gotta hit them hard. Make sure you put all power to your weapons. Make sure you also synthesize ammunition when you need it, by the way, because you're probably gonna run out of fuel and ammunition. You can't just shoot it once, you actually have to hit it a bunch of times to bring the power up so that you get a column of light emanating from above this thing, reaching for the heavens, or I don't know. There you go. Energy pylon is charged. Now I leave the two next to the altar to last. You'll notice that there's 4 items that have come up. Basically that's one for each of these. So as I bring this one up, and you'll notice this one takes a little longer because I didn't put power to the weapons. Always put power to the weapons when you're shooting these pylons. Yeah, if you look at the right of the screen you can see the elements coming up inside the altar there. And you have to kind of aim these manually. So there. Now the last thing to do is you want to go into your cargo and drop the key on there. Now the sites that were previously in the game, they used an ancient relic which could be picked up on site. It's the new ones for the fighters that you need to pick up the ancient key at the beacons beforehand. So yeah, that looks familiar, right? It's another one of these Guardian data beacon things. It opens up and it says, take my data. There, ancient data terminal. It's the Guardian's version of the Gibson. And that's it. I'll have got a copy of the blueprint, and now you might want to put some distance between you and this whole area, because of course you'll see there's like half a dozen red dots on the scanner. You can actually just drive away and save and reload if you want, or you can fight them. That's entirely up to you. You can even go back to your ship and use the shipboard weapons to shoot these things down, although it's actually kind of hard. I found it hard because you can't target these things. They don't show lock-on signatures. And that might be because I have crappy weapons and because I've optimized my spacecraft for exploration and made everything as light as possible, and the sensors for combat are barely functioning. I've heard reports that point defense is actually a pretty good thing to have on your ship against the Sentinels because they'll shoot those. But I think actually you could probably just drop missiles on them. I don't know. Anyway, look. If you've been out in the Guardian sector, you've picked up enough materials, you've shot enough panels, you've scanned enough blueprints, it's time to head to your favorite station with a tech broker. I like to use Jameson Memorial because it has everything in one place. It's the elite station for the elite players who are in fact elite.
Permission authorized. Proceed to Bay 2-3.
I'm gonna say, docking is one of those things that, you do it a lot, but it really encapsulates so much that is good about elite. The look of the space station, the careful maneuvering, the response to the spacecraft. And I'm sure a lot of people it's just busy work. It's like parking, but I really like it. And when you're flying in and you have VR and you can look around inside the space station, docking's one of the best things to show people. I mean, yeah, if you've got a VR setup and you want to show your friends, like put them in the training mission in Elite Dangerous and then have them fly into the space station. And they'll just be looking around in all directions with their mouth hanging half open, and then they'll crash into something and you'll all have a laugh, and it'll be even funnier when they kind of duck around trying to avoid getting hit. I honestly wish there were a lot more standalone missions in Elite Dangerous, because there are great ways to just drop in and experience the game. Hell, I want them to make like a full campaign, like X-Wing Simulator with, a series of interlinked missions using the Elite engine. Anyway, look, we've got here, you want to go to contacts to the technology broker. And the technology broker will have all sorts of stuff, but I'm here for the fighters, and there's 3 new fighters. The Javelin, the Lance, and the Trident. These are a fusion of alien, Argardian, and human technology, specifically designed for killing Thargoids. Anyway, decide which one you want. You better hope that you have all these materials, because that involves a lot of driving around. You're only going to need to run that particular site 3 times right now, because there's only 3 fighters. There are other sites which produce weapons blueprints and component blueprints, and those will take, you might need to run those even more. And in addition to just the blueprints, you're going to need all the bits and pieces to actually unlock them. But once you've unlocked them, you can just buy them with cash. So yeah, switched into my crate, or crate, depending upon whether you want to pronounce it correctly. And it has a fighter bay, so I go down to the fighter bay, and there it is, my Javelin. It cost me 13,000 credits, and I think I can afford it. So now this spacecraft will have a fighter in the cargo bay, which is full of all sorts of alien magic. I'm going to admit right now, I've not got time to actually go and find some Thargoids to kill with this, because, well, I'm not very good at killing Thargoids. But ooh, doesn't that sound cool? Let's take a look around here. So, as I said, fusion of Guardian and human technology. You see that the materials are this kind of blue iridescent stuff with energy flowing through it. It's feeling the force. But the most important thing with any new spacecraft in Elite is, how does it boost sound? And I think the answer is, wow, not only does it sound cool, but we get some more of that lightning stuff. Here, watch that. Let's look again. Nice. Proper energy there. I still think it's amazing that the developers can come up with distinctive sounding engines for basically every single spacecraft. There's like 36 spacecraft in the game. Oh yeah, I like this. The wings, the tips, they kind of are held in place with tractor beams or something. Now, can we get tractor beams? I don't have to fly drones around picking everything up, or limpets, right? Of course, the flip side of the sound in Elite is that the weapon systems are kind of wimpy sounding. Yeah, okay. That might not sound very impressive to us humans, but I guarantee you that that weapon is the fastest way to a Thargoid's heart. And you might actually need this extra edge, because apparently there is a new type of Thargoid doing the round. The Hydra is bigger and scarier and more aggressive than the others, because most of the Thargoids will ignore you unless you're doing stuff with Guardian technologies, in which case you will absolutely be considered the enemy. I think it's actually a pretty good mechanic. You know, you can choose to avoid fighting the big bad boss monsters until you're properly equipped to do so. And the release does bring another Alliance spacecraft to the game, bringing the total ships in the game up to 36 plus 4 different fighter variants. So we now have the Crusader, the Chieftain, and the Challenger. And for those of you who are only casually keeping up with what's going on with Elite and are looking perhaps for something interesting to do, you might have heard of the Gnosis. It is a player-run megaship, which, you know, player-run ships can jump 500 light years to any destination within their range. And so apparently the people that run this have decided, and they've got buy-in from the developers, to take their giant megaship into a secret permit-locked region of space. There is a spherical area 400 light years deep with a thing at the middle which you can't get to normally, but they've now decided they've got the permission to go in there, and the latest news release says, by the way, we've just discovered the scariest aliens are living here. So yeah, you might want to load up your Chieftain or your Challenger and you fit in some of these Javelin fighters or whatever and take the Gnosis, so you dock with the spacecraft, and at the appropriate time it will jump out, jump in, and be surrounded by Thargoids and killed, or who knows where the narrative will bring it. But Elite Dangerous continues to be developed. And I'm going to say, I actually had way more material for this video than I thought I had. So I'm going to actually have like 3 other videos worth of stuff that I want to show off here. So, but I will be out on the Gnosis, and I will perhaps see you in the middle of scary alien permit locked space. Until then, I'm Scott Manley. Fly safe.